Welcome to Digital Circus. My name's Tyler Hodgkinson. Today's episode is all about music. There's my interview with an amazing organ player who covers video game tunes, music videos, and more. All right. Thanks for tuning in to Digital Circus. I'm now joined by JonnySel, music arranger and content creator for JonnySel Productions. Jonny, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure, Tyler.
So today we're talking about music, and I thought you were the perfect guest to be on because you have a YouTube channel. Well, you have many. You have,
well, three actually, but I'm focusing on one.
To most people, that's many, I think. But you do have a music channel. So I kind of want you to maybe start off by talking about where did your love for video games start?
Okay, my love for video games started when I was in my early years. I remember seeing some, when I'm trying to remember back when I was like 2 or 3 years old, I do remember some people playing the Super Nintendo and whatnot.
Good system.
That was actually pretty much back in Europe when my parents and I were visiting family there, but I was born here.
Okay.
But so I barely remember a thing from the trip, but other than that, fast forward a few years later, my middle brother was diagnosed with a benign tumor in his right shoulder, and he was admitted to the Sick Kids Hospital. And because of that, I was able to discover some more video game consoles that were over there at the Sick Kids Hospital, one of them being a Nintendo 64. And I do remember vaguely seeing some Super Mario 64 footage, and then I believe it was back in 2002 or 2003 when my parents bought me a Game Boy Advance SP, and that's when I got Super Mario World for the Game Boy Advance. I loved it to death, that game.
Yeah, and that system was so good too, the SP. Yeah. A funny story is that my grandmother actually got one years later, and she just played like Scrabble and stuff on it, and she really loved the Game Boy SP. And like I mean, I don't know how many grandmothers have a Game Boy SP, but it just goes to show the wide range of like how video games can appeal to everybody. Yeah, and so someone as old as her. Sorry, Grandma. And then someone as young as you at that moment can really love something and love this medium. So you started with the SP, and then what system did you have after that?
I got very interested in the Super Mario 64 speedruns at the time. And oh boy.
They're so fun to watch.
Yeah, they're really fun to watch. And I actually did attempt to do one myself few years ago, and it's obviously not as fast as the others, but I just wanted to do it for fun, for the heck of it. And that was later on after I saw my likes for speedruns that particularly as well the Nintendo 64, that I got myself a Nintendo 64 back in 2007. Oh, many years later. That
is much later than most people. Yeah,
I know. And funnily enough, a year after that, on my 13th birthday, I got a Nintendo GameCube afterwards. That's very funny. It's kind of like my grandma getting the SP years later. Yes. Sorry to interrupt, but also a few months later, my whole family and I also got a Nintendo Wii, so we got caught up pretty quickly. And also, I forgot to mention that after the Game Boy Advance SPs, my brothers and I did get ourselves Nintendo DS Lites as well, so we also got caught up from there. And yeah.
And so, switching gears to music a little bit, and maybe even talking about something like Super Mario 64, were there any games that stuck with you in terms of the score, the music that was included in them?
Oh, Super Mario World by far, definitely, as well as Super Mario 64. And spoiler alert, I'm a huge Mario fan. I'm gonna say it like right there. Yeah. I even already mentioned it many times on social media that since I'm a huge Mario fan, and one of the things I did mention on my YouTube channel is since I have this huge Mario bias, one of my goals so far is to create organ arrangements of as many Mario games as possible in chronological order before I finally focus on other video games, since I really want to get that bias out of the way. even in between, I'll still make organ arrangements of video game OSTs of different video game OSTs and whatnot. So.
And then how did you make that transition from just loving music and playing music as a child to starting your own YouTube channel?
Well, I'll try and condense everything together. I started, even though my love for music started when I was really young, especially for organ music. That's when I fell in love with organ music to begin with, was when I was really young. Started taking piano lessons in 2006 when I was like... 2000, no, not 2006, my bad, much earlier than that. I may have to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah, you were young.
Yeah, I was young and whatnot. So I took piano lessons back in 2001, which was when I was 6 years old, 6.5 actually. But yeah, and then I also, at times whenever possible, I would try to play on my church's organ back then. And then years later in 2014, I got more involved with playing the organ for my church and whatnot. And that's when my skills for organ playing got a little bit better, though I'm still improving as much as I could, though. In the meantime, I'm just focusing on creating the sheet music arrangements.
I'm definitely going to ask you about what types of goals that you have moving forward with your channel, but we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to chat more with Jonny. Welcome back to Digital Circus. I'm here with Jonny from JonnySel Productions. So Jonny, we've kind of established now that you have your YouTube channel. You cover video game music as part of it. Some of your favorite songs from the video games that you've loved from the past. So what would be your favorite song to cover? Is that opening this big can of worms, or?
Oh boy, yeah.
It's like picking your favorite child. It's like, I don't know.
Oh boy, yeah. It's actually pretty funny you should say that, because there are a lot of favorites of mine. It's kind of hard to choose which one's my favorite. And as to the difficulty of the arrangements that I make, it can vary from really easy to pretty darn difficult, but I can still do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, thankfully, I can now say that I thankfully actually did go through those struggling moments to finish them.
Yeah.
Especially since I really wanted to get them out there as soon as possible. Though right off the bat, I would probably say, well, emotionally speaking, because some of my arrangements actually do make me tear up a bit some of them do make me tear up a bit when it comes to the deep emotional sense, because of how deeply connected connected I am with music and whatnot. And I'd say probably the most emotionally hitting one, or the most impacting one on me so far, would happen to be the ending / staff roll Super Mario 64 organ arrangement that I made.
Yeah.
Especially near the end with that key change in the staff roll. When the staff roll music plays, and then when it gets near the end, those key changes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it can really strike you in the Yeah, I don't.
It's tough to listen to, and I know I've actually known about your channel for a very long time.
Oh wow.
Because we're Facebook friends, and I see that that you post the videos, and I do go and watch them, and it's really quite interesting, because it's a different take on these songs that people have heard so many times. How do you go about arranging these songs?
Well, when it comes to creating these arrangements, it can definitely take some hard work with that. Well, for one thing, I pretty much already had the upper advantage when it comes to creating these arrangements, because I had, up to right now, I pretty much have, well, as of right now, I have over 17 years of music experience and education, so that definitely gives me an upper edge to finishing them.
Right. Well,
creating them and finishing them, compared to those who are still yet to get the ropes on how music works and how to implement it into the software that I use to create them, which is Finale. I know there's Sibelius and other things, though Finale is mainly the software that I use to create these arrangements from, and this arrangements with. Yeah.
Right. And so now that you do have a few years under your belt, you've been creating these videos, you've been creating the arrangements, and I think, I know you have 3 channels. Is that the one that has over, is it 1,000 now subscribers?
Yes, currently right now it has over 1,300 subscribers.
1,300.
Oh yeah.
So you got people watching these videos. Do you feel any, do you get any requests for songs?
Oh, for sure. I actually did one of my most, my first ever Patreon request was released last week. I'm not sure when this would be released later on, but it was it was Hollow Bastion from the Kingdom Hearts.
Right.
From the Kingdom Hearts game. Yeah.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh yeah, that's coming up, and
I'm excited.
Honestly, I haven't really played the Kingdom Hearts games yet. I would like to, though I'll need to find the time to actually play them. And
right.
I'm actually really happy to see that the composer of those games, Yoko Shimomura, I believe that's her name. She also did the soundtrack of Super Mario RPG and a few other games, though more particularly the Kingdom Hearts games, and that's definitely that can definitely be one of the motivators for me to get started on the Kingdom Hearts games whenever possible.
So it's interesting that people are now, they're submitting ideas, and then it's influencing how you play video games and what games you play, and it's kind of almost a community in that way.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
You built a little community.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you heard from anybody saying that that they've started a channel because they've seen you, or has it been mostly just people saying that they enjoy your work?
I would say mostly the latter. That I've been getting really positive, comments, some criticisms here and there, though I do understand where they're coming from. But most of the time, it's really positive, and some of the comments that I got on the videos, some of them were actually really. They were really heartfelt, and knowing that I've made an impact with my work, and that to me right there is already very rewarding in of itself.
Right.
And whatnot. Sure, money can be a good byproduct of what I do, but mainly with what I'm doing, creating the sheet music arrangements themselves, I just love the process of creating them.
Right.
And all of that.
What else would you like to do with the channel?
Well, I do have other types of content that I do produce on the channel. Like, for instance, I did upload a good amount of AudioSurf 2 music videos of basically many different tracks and whatnot. Of many different tracks that I want to showcase on AudioSurf 2 for the heck of it. And real quick, I just remembered that I wanted to mention about my lifelong goal of creating this arrangements library. There are 2 things I want to do with that lifelong goal. The first reason is to inspire and influence the way we listen to organ music, and 2, to prepare organists of today and for generations to come with organ arrangements of a variety of songs than you would traditionally hear from the organ, like traditional and classical music, for many more years to come in order to keep the art of organ music alive. And I'm pretty much already doing my part for the organ world. I'm pretty much doing the organ world a favor with this this lifelong mission that I'm doing.
Do you have any goals of maybe creating music for video games?
Ooh, that depends. I'm not too keen on composing different songs. I'm a lot more skilled when it comes to arranging songs, like for example, of songs that I'm already very familiar with, yet I arrange them for the organ. Hence why I refer to myself as a music arranger. There are many other music arrangers out there, but of course I'm a music arranger more specifically for the organ. Knowing that I have played the organ for a good amount of years already, I know how organ music works, and so I do use that to my advantage to arrange them accordingly and as such.
That's perfect. Well, I can't wait to see what you do next. Before we leave, do you want to maybe tell everybody about where they can find you on YouTube?
Yes, you can find me by simply searching Jonny Music, JONNY space MUSIC for music. And when you look up the search results, you should be able to see the yellow like JM logo and whatnot, or probably you'll be able to find it due to my subscriber count and whatnot. But it should be very easy to find, or heck, even type in organ cover. One of my videos should show up.
Yeah.
But it all depends.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks for joining.
Yep. Thank you very much for having me on, Tyler.
Yeah.